Covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America. Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in. We've got the latest from the United States-Mexico border as well as a sneak peek inside North Korea. But more on that in just a minute. First, a look at the headlines. President Joe Biden urges President-elect Donald Trump to rethink his plans to impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico. President Biden says the tariffs would severely impact close relations with the two allies. Taiwan's President Lai Ching-tai will visit Hawaii and Guam as part of his upcoming trip to the Pacific, which begins on Saturday. The Taiwanese leader will spend 2 nights in Hawaii and 1 night in Guam, where he'll meet senior congressional lawmakers. Russia's defense minister arrives in North Korea's capital, Pyongyang, for military and strategic discussions. The visit comes as thousands of North Korean troops continue to fight on behalf of Russia inside Ukraine. Australia completely bans teenagers under the age of 16 from all social media platforms. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says social media companies have a responsibility for ensuring the mental and physical wellness of children. And thousands of government workers launch a nationwide strike in Chile. Protests erupt in the capital of Santiago as workers demand better work conditions and higher wages. We begin with Russian leader Vladimir Putin, who hailed President-elect Donald Trump as a smart and experienced politician who will be able to put an end to the war in Ukraine. Speaking to reporters in Kazakhstan, Putin also questioned President Joe Biden's decision to allow Ukraine to use American long-range missiles against Russia, which could create additional difficulties for the incoming Trump administration.
It's possible that the current administration wants to create difficulties for the future administration. That is also a possibility. But as in my view of the newly elected president, he's a quite clever and experienced man. I think he will find a solution given that he has tackled such a challenge as reclaiming the White House.
The Russian leader also congratulated Donald Trump for winning the presidential election and acting like a real man during the first attempt on his life.
What struck me the most is not that Trump was faced with uncivilized means, including assassination attempts, more than once. By the way, in my view, even now he's not safe. Yes. Why? The U.S. history has seen various developments.
Putin also criticized the judicial procedures against the president-elect just days after the Justice Department dropped 2 federal criminal cases against Donald Trump.
He is a clever and cautious man. I should hope he realizes all that. Most of all, I was shocked to see that it was not just he who faced humiliating and unfounded judicial procedures and accusations and so forth.
The Russian leader continued that he was shocked that not only Donald Trump, but even his family and children were targeted by his political opponents during the election campaign. Putin said such behavior from Democrats was revolting and that not even bandits would resort to these methods in Russia.
His family members, his children also faced attacks. In our country, not even bandits do so. In turf battles between criminal groups, they don't touch women and children. They leave them alone. Men fight each other. Over there they do touch them. It's so disgusting and demonstrates the degradation of today's American political system.
Notably, Donald Trump shared a cordial relationship with Putin during his first term in the White House. However, there's been widespread speculation surrounding Donald Trump's affinity to Putin, considering Russia's aim to diminish the United States at every turn. And ahead of his second presidency, Donald Trump has vowed to end Putin's war in Ukraine in just 24 hours, which would include forcing Ukraine to cede territory. And here in the United States, Donald Trump's incoming border czar Tom Homan has threatened jail time for anyone who interferes with the president-elect's mass deportation plan. In a television interview, Homan said that he will put Denver's mayor Mike Johnson in prison. His threat was in response to Johnson's recent comments in which the Democratic mayor said that he was willing to risk incarceration to resist Donald Trump's deportation plan. Homan also emphasized the need to crack down on illegal immigration while addressing National Guardsmen in Texas. He was surveilling the U.S.-Mexico border as part of his forthcoming appointment.
So at the heels of the biggest illegal immigration crisis we've ever seen in this nation, there has to be a massive deportation operation, because 9 out of 10 of these people, based on 10 years of data, well, they'll lose their case, get order removal. If we don't remove them, what the hell are we doing? The whole world's going to know. Enter the country illegally, what's the crime? Make a false claim to asylum, get order removed, but you still have to go home.
Homan has also warned of ending federal funding to states that do not cooperate with Donald Trump's deportation plans. Across the country, several Democratic cities and states are pushing back on the president-elect's plan for undocumented migrants. In fact, last week, Los Angeles declared itself a sanctuary city, which includes the ban of local resources to help federal immigration authorities. And among the states whose governors have decided to resist the deportations are California, New Mexico, and Arizona, 3 of 4 states along the U.S.-Mexico border. However, the scenario is very different for Republican-run Texas, which has instead offered thousands of acres of land to Donald Trump and Tom Homan to process and detain illegal immigrants.
As many of you are aware, I have extended an offer to President Trump and incoming border czar Tom Homan to use this 1,400-acre property to construct a facility for the processing, detention, and coordination efforts of what will be the largest deportation of violent criminals in our nation's history. A facility here will be the final stop for processing before these violent criminals are deported. This will reduce the burden on our local jails and keep our Texas children safer. President Trump and Mr. Homan, I meant it when I said that I will do everything in my power to help this administration.
The incoming border czar has also asked undocumented migrants to self-deport to avoid long-term legal implications. He says the deportees with children that are U.S. citizens can actually choose to leave their kids in America or take them back to their home country. Now, with just over a month left for Donald Trump takes office, migrants coming into the United States are scared for their future.
With these jails, Donald Trump wants to scare us. He wants us to go back to our country, but we will not go back. We will continue to the United States for our children's future. All the sacrifice we do is for them.
Every month, U.S. Border Patrol apprehends thousands of migrants crossing into the country via Mexico. And given the current situation, Donald Trump's first task as president is expected to be the mobilization of the military and several government agencies to deport a record number of migrants. And from Donald Trump, we now move to first buddy Elon Musk. The Tesla CEO is back in the spotlight for criticizing tech giant Microsoft over alleged discriminatory hiring practices at Xbox. The controversy began after an unverified post on social media platform X claimed that Xbox excluded white candidates and prioritized unqualified queer and black people for roles. Swinging into action, the Tesla CEO tagged Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, writing, "This is illegal." While Microsoft has not responded to these claims, the company has long emphasized its commitment to diversity and inclusion under Nadella's leadership. Now, this isn't the first time Elon Musk has taken a dig at Microsoft. In fact, he previously mocked the Microsoft CEO over software outages and criticized the tech company's Windows setup process. Back in 2022, Elon Musk also mocked Bill Gates after the Microsoft founder downplayed his attempt to short Tesla stocks. Donald Trump's other allies, like podcaster Joe Rogan, are also taking aim at Microsoft and its founder, Bill Gates. During multiple podcasts, Joe Rogan has criticized Bill Gates over the billionaire's views on the COVID-19 pandemic and public health issues.
Responsible for all the side effects. You're responsible for all these, and you're responsible for fear-mongering, lying, closing down businesses, ruining economies, changing the political structure of the country. Bill Gates should get jacked. He's got a lot of money. He should get a trainer. If Bill Gates has a six-pack, I'd listen to him.
Now, we should make clear the claims against Microsoft remain unverified, but the debate continues to spark interest. Some see Microsoft diversity hiring efforts as essential, while others argue they risk alienating parts of the workforce.
He took what we might call, in the Twitter era, a public sphere, a place where you and I and others who were interested in curating a following people who had interesting things to say, fellow social scientists, scholars, etc., we could actually use Twitter to educate ourselves, to become aware of recent trends, new articles. Today, what Musk has done is turned X into not a public sphere, but a sort of a blowhorn that is attempting to highlight his predilections, his ideas, his beefs, his views, and there are serious consequences to that.
With Musk gearing up for a direct challenge to Microsoft, tensions between the tech giants are rising. And with more and more tech firms mending their relations with Donald Trump after his re-election, just how will Microsoft react to being on the wrong side of one of Trump's closest buddies? And now to the Korean Peninsula. America's coffee giant Starbucks has opened a cafe on top of a border observatory post, giving South Koreans a clear peek at their mysterious northern neighbors. But this is not your usual Starbucks. One must pass multiple military checkpoints to have a cup of coffee while taking in the view of Kim Jong-un's country. Once a scene of brutal fighting in the Korean War, how does the Starbucks cafe fit into this tense yet scenic spot? An even more pressing question, does North Korea even know about Starbucks? Our report dives in.
Imagine sipping your favorite brew while peering into the unknown. That's the promise of Starbucks with their latest venture, nestled in the historic Aegibong Peace Eco Park in Gimpo, South Korea. This isn't just any coffee shop, it's a front row seat to a slice of life in North Korea, a place cloaked in secrecy.
I heard Starbucks was opening at Aegibong, so I woke up at 4 a.m. today. This feels really different from when a Starbucks opens in our usual neighborhood. I wanted to be here early and make the first order. As I sip this delicious coffee, I wish I could share this tasty coffee with the people living in North Korea right in front of us.
Perched atop the Jogang Observatory, the new cafe offers something extraordinary. A view into North Korea's Kaepang County, a mere 1.6 kilometers away. Across the Jogang River lies this quiet North Korean village dotted with homes and farms and framed by the enigmatic Songashan mountain. With binoculars or a long lens, curious South Koreans can catch fleeting glimpses of a world so close yet so unreachable.
We are just a river apart, but living in such different conditions. It just saddens me and hurts my heart. I hope to share a hot cup of coffee at the Starbucks with them.
But the magic here isn't just the view, it's the history underfoot. The observatory and the Starbucks sits on Hill 154, a battleground from the Korean War. Today, the hill has transformed into a tranquil park, blending poignant memorials with lush gardens and exhibition halls. The cafe that opened on November 27th seats just 30 guests, making every visit feel intimate. Floor-to-ceiling windows ensure that every sip comes with a view of Kim Jong-un's North Korea.
People used to think of this area near the North Korean border as a dark and gloomy place. But now that Starbucks, with its global marketing power, has opened here, this place could now become an important tourist destination for security and peace that can be seen as young, bright, and warm as well as garnering global attention.
However, getting there isn't a typical stroll to Starbucks. Visitors must pass a military checkpoint, a reminder of the tense reality between the two Koreas. But once inside, the cafe offers serenity, even as the border hums with unspoken tension.
Looking at how North Korean residents live, I thought it would be good if visitors could hope for peaceful unification so they can enjoy this good place. When I think of trash balloons, I just think it has more to do with their internal problems. So I don't think us opening a Starbucks and having many people visit this place will give North Korea a reason to carry out a provocation.
This isn't just a normal Starbucks outlet, it is part of Gimpo City's bold plan to turn Aegibong into a must-visit destination. And with Starbucks now brewing here, the city is banking on even more buzz. Yet this serene spot isn't untouched by conflict. Aegibong has long been a stage for symbolic battles. In 2014, a towering Christmas tree of lights was torn down after North Korea branded it as psychological warfare. But last year, the South reignited the tradition, lighting up the hill in defiance. And the tension isn't just history. As South Korea brews coffee, the question one would always think is about the people on the other side. What is life like over there? What do they do? And do they even know what Starbucks is?
And our final report is about how running clubs are replacing dating apps. Gen Z are finding romantic dates at the finish lines of marathons. From the streets of London to the tracks of New York, running clubs are turning into the hottest matchmaking spots. These running groups offer mental health support, a sense of community, and safety, especially for young women. Here's the latest on Gen Z's love on the run.
What do bakeries, breweries, and running have in common? On London's Bermondsey Beer Mile, the answer is simply deceptive: temptation. While the wafting aroma of freshly baked bread and craft beer are enough to derail most joggers, those who persist past these sensory landmines might just stumble upon something entirely unexpected. Romance. Yes, amid medals, sweaty sneakers, and marathon posters, love is pounding the pavement. According to London-based running group founder Tim Naveen Jones, running clubs have played Cupid for at least 20 couples, leading to I-do's instead of just finish line high-fives. On a typically grey, drizzy London evening, new recruits outside the clubhouse exchange flirtatious banter, suggesting that Tinder might have some serious competition. After all, why swipe right when you can jog left? The running club as dating app trend is no longer just a clever Instagram hashtag. With traditional dating apps feeling like emotional marathons of their own, running clubs are emerging as the fresh, albeit sweatier, alternative. Participants confessed that the chance to meet people and maybe their future spouses was as enticing as the cardio. Others simply enjoyed the social buzz minus the liquid calories. But the benefits of running clubs extend far beyond flirtation. They provide camaraderie, mental health support, and crucially for women, safety in numbers. Research by the University of Manchester revealed that nearly 70% of female runners have faced harassment while running alone. These concerns have driven the surge in female-only running groups, where safety and solidarity go hand in hand, or rather stride by stride. Running's resurgence as a cool and community activity isn't just a London thing. Across the globe, applications like Strava are documenting the boom, with weekend group runs spiking and Gen Z women joining in droves. New York City's Bridge Runners founder Mike Says even calls the movement funishment, a rebranding of running as lifestyle instead of punishment. whether it's for fitness, friendship, or finding the one. Running is no longer just a solidarity slog. And then, of course, there's the LGBTQIA+ community, who have also embraced running clubs as safe spaces for connection and identity building. Members of London frontrunners share stories of finding not just friends, but family within the group. So whether you are chasing a personal best or a potential partner, running clubs seem to offer something for everyone. They have taken what was once a dreaded solo pursuit and turned it into a vibrant community, where relationships of all kinds thrive. Because as any runner will tell you, life is better when you share the miles and maybe a medal or two.
That's all we have time for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We hope you have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you right back here next week. From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington